Heather Rose Rich was born January 19th, 1980. She was born in Waurika, Oklahoma to Gail and Dwayne Rich. Waurika was a small town with a population of 1,998. In high school, Heather was a cheerleader and an honor student. Outside of school, she was a drinker, smoker, and really enjoyed hanging out with her friends. Heather had a bad attitude and didn't want anything to do with her home life. Her dad was injured at work and needed time off to heal, so her mom had to work extra long hours, which meant Heather was responsible for taking care of her father and the household. Heather's boyfriend, Randy Wood, broke up with her because he found out that she was skinny dipping at a co-ed pool party. Almost a week after they broke up, Heather's friend Dennis Goss ended his life. Heather was spiraling and began to smoke meth. She was suspended September 27th after going to a Friday night football game to cheer Trump. Heather also started cutting herself. Her parents were super concerned and wanted to know why she was trying to hurt herself. They scheduled her in a therapy appointment for October 3rd. On October 2nd, Heather's mom got a phone bill that came out to $300. Her mom was pissed and told her all she does is cost her money. Heather was like, whatever, and went to her room. That night, she snuck out her window to go on her first date with Josh Bagwell. The next morning, October 3rd, Heather's mother realized she was not in her room and tried to contact the police. The police said she probably just ran away and give it some time, and then call if she doesn't show back up. Gail Rich totally ignored the police and went out to search for her daughter. She was given a list of all the kids that didn't show up to school that day. Randy Wood and Josh Bagwell were on the list. Gail contacted Randy to ask him if he'd seen Heather, which his reply was no, she was with Josh until 6 in the morning. Gail then went on to Josh to ask him where her daughter was. He said he was only out of school because he was suspended, and he hasn't seen Heather in a week. Gail and Dwayne hired a private investigator to search Waurika with a bloodhound. On the night of October 9, 1996, a rancher found Heather's body floating in a creek. He wasn't wearing his glasses and he thought it was an animal, so he shot it twice in the hope that it would sink. He realized his mistake the next morning when the sun came out. The authorities were called. Heather's face was unrecognizable from the gunshot wound to the back of her head. She was thrown over a concrete bridge into the creek. She was identified by a ring that she wore that she was given on her 16th birthday. Heather had been shot 9 times, once in the head and 8 times in the back. She was so disfigured that the family was not allowed to see her. Later, the jury recoiled when they seen the autopsy photos. Heather Rich was put to rest October 14th. Her mother, Gail, refused to let anybody touch her casket because nobody was charged yet, and she knew that her daughter knew the perpetrator. During the investigation of Heather's murder, detectives were informed that Heather was supposed to go to Josh's party. When the police questioned Josh, they found out that Randy Wood and Curtis Gamble were there playing dominoes and drinking whiskey, but that Heather was never there that night. During forensic testing, ammunition proved that the weapon was a Mossberg M9 shotgun. Curtis Gamble owned a Mossberg M9 shotgun and also was given bullets by his mom a day prior. On October 24th, 1996, Josh, Curtis, and Randy were all formally charged with first-degree murder. During the interrogation, Josh would not talk. He was completely silent the entire time. There were rumors, though, that he was bragging to his friends about the police not charging him because they didn't have anything. Curtis, on the other hand, sang like a stew pigeon. He said that Heather came over that night, she began to drink, and got really drunk. Her and Josh began to have sex for a couple hours. After they were done, Randy and Curtis wanted their turn, but Heather passed out. But that didn't stop them from doing what they wanted to do. During the assault, she regained consciousness and began to scream and cry. She then passed back out, but it didn't stop the boys. Curtis claimed as soon as they were done, they started to feel remorse for the assault. And they started to think if she wakes up, she'll tell everybody what happened to her and they will be charged. That's when the boys decided to come up with a plan to eliminate her, so they didn't have to face consequences for their action. They carried Heather's unconscious body to the truck, took her to the Belknap Creek Bridge. Randy shot her and then threw her off the bridge. Curtis claimed that Randy's jealousy over having sex with Josh fueled the plan, but Curtis also failed a polygraph test. During Randy's interrogation, most of Corey's story was the same, except he claimed that on the bridge, All three of the boys took her body out of the car and laid her on the pavement. Randy claimed that he got back in the truck, covered his face with his hands, and after the gunshot stopped, he looked up and seen Curtis with the gun. Randy did pass the polygraph test. The boys were tried separately. On October 15, 1997, Curtis was sentenced to life in prison. On February 17, 1998, Josh was found guilty of capital murder and conspiracy to commit capital murder and was sentenced to life in prison. On January 28, 2002, Josh's mom, Cherise, helped him and Curtis escape prison. On February 7th, they were captured and sent back to prison. Cherise was charged with helping them escape. She was sentenced to 20 years, 12 of which have to be served on probation. Randy declined the plea deal. He refused to admit to killing Heather. He was found guilty on capital murder August 25, 1998. He was sentenced to life in prison. In the early 2000s, the sheriff reopened the Dennis Goss case, saying that maybe Heather died because she knew that Dennis's death was not him taking his own life. His cause of death was later changed from death by his own hands to unknown. As far as I could tell, nothing really came from that. Even after 30 years, no one really knows why this baby girl passed away. But what I do know is she didn't deserve what happened to her. It was so evil and callous. And to think, two of these assholes broke out like they didn't deserve the sentence they were given, because they 100% did. I'm just glad they were all caught in less than 2 weeks and didn't disappear. May Heather Rich rest in peace, taken way too soon. And if you made it to the end, thank you so much. Have a good day and God bless.